Welcome to This Week in Princeton Vikings Athletics here on VikeNation.org and ESP Media powered by Sidearm Sports. My name is Jason Griefer. Today, we are joined by Princeton Assistant Athletic Director Matt Weber. Matt, good to have you back on the show once again. Before we get into the high school ranks, let's talk about what's more of your wheelhouse. You oversee the middle school athletics programs in the Princeton School District here. So let's kind of take a whip around the middle school athletics programs. Take us through some of the highlights, what's going on, what team's standing out, all that good stuff.
Yeah, good morning, Jason. Good to be back here on the podcast with you. It's been an exciting week with the middle school athletics. Very busy, of course. The hot team right now that we talked about yesterday in school was our baseball team. They're winners of 4 straight. Great atmosphere with the team, and they're really playing hard, playing well, and it's really fun to watch out there on the diamond. So they're winners of 4 straight. Track and field program has picked up and competing very well. The boys just took second place in the Mount Healthy Invitational, and we host the junior high track invitational today as we're recording this. So busy day for track and field. They're competing about 3 track meets last week. So all are showcasing great personal and team successes there in individual events there. So it's always good to see the growth from the start to where we're at now. Yep. And then in about 2 weeks, we had the conference tournament. So it's really exciting to see the progression from our 7th grade students there. Softball team is picking up and doing well against very good competition last week. And tennis as well. They're continuing to fight and continue to work hard, and you're seeing a lot of growth down there at the lower levels. So very exciting time for middle school athletics. They're heading into the final 2-week stretch before conference tournament play, and really doing a nice job throughout the season as far as developing and building up the confidence and having success against very good competition here in the Southwest Ohio.
We often see some updates from the middle school levels on social media, on Twitter and what have you. So good to give them a little bit of spotlight here, and good to see they're performing well and doing well, especially heading into a conference championship time, as you said, in a couple of weeks. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as time goes on here on the podcast. Let's move up to the high school level now and start talking about the Vikings at the high school level. Let's start with the baseball team. And as we've talked with Joe on the show in the spring season, kind of a tough year right now for the baseball team. However, did finally get that first GMC win late last week, beating Mason 4-0. Mason won the rematch on Friday, but let's focus on the win here to get things going in the right direction in league play. We've talked with Joe on the show in the past couple of weeks about it's kind of been of a tough year, especially for the pitching staff. They've been roughed up quite a bit in a GMC league, as you know, is as good as any league in greater Cincinnati. From top to bottom, a lot of quality baseball programs in there for sure. But I have to imagine here, given that fact that pitching a shutout against an always quality Mason team, had to feel pretty good for them, had to give them a pretty good shot in the arm heading into the back half of the year.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Coach DePeel and the baseball team on that big win and earning their conference victory there against Mason, who, as we talked about, they sit atop the conference standings year after year. And you're right, Jason, the GMC is probably one of the best conferences in the state of Ohio, if not the best, and especially with baseball down here in Cincinnati. So anytime a starter can give you, 7 innings of shutout baseball, it's outstanding. And it is a shot in the arm there. Senior Damian Tilley goes 7 innings, yields 4 hits, shutout ball, great defense, great execution on offense, and really just builds the confidence. You're starting to see the confidence continue to build against very good competition throughout the GMC and the non-conference schedule. But Jaquan Turnage there with a collection of 2 hits against Mason in that win. So the team did very well. As we talked about, with pitching, a lot is determined by, how the starter goes in the bullpen. And anytime your starter can go 7 innings, now have to utilize the bullpen, let the bullpen rest, and get ready for the next week of games. And as you know, 3 or 4 games during the week, depending on how pitch count and health and status of the bullpen, it definitely goes a long way and determine how a coach can execute the game plan. So big win with Mason. Again, competition is an all-time high here. I'm very impressed with the skill level at all the schools, especially in the GMC. But Southwest Ohio high school baseball is outstanding down here. and our teams are competing. Our pitchers are competing. You saw that. They never gave up and continued to be a bulldog on the mound. And 7 innings, 4 hit shutout baseball is a great way to turn things around, especially given the last couple of weeks with just some tough outings for our pitchers against some very good competition.
And a lot of baseball left to be played, even though there's only 2-3 weeks left in the regular season. So a lot of games and a lot of days, very few off days. And that's kind of what the softball team's kind of in a run right now. They did get a nice win over Walnut Hills and a thriller on Saturday, 10-9, but really struggled in GMC play. Pitching staff here getting roughed up too. But this team right now is in a stretch where it's almost literally no days off. They're in a run right now of something like 14 games in 16 days. That's a lot to ask for these kids to continue to go back to back to back to back and through a more than 2 week stretch. Is there any kind of sense of like fatigue setting in right now, or are they just trying to stay locked in and just literally move from one game to the next and not let the previous game affect the next game?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough for the team. It's tough for the coaches anytime you go through that type of stretch in the season. But, they had a win over Walnut Hills. They had a win over Mount Healthy. And they got their conference victory over Sycamore. So they started the week last week with 3 wins. So congratulations, Coach Black and the Lady Vikes softball team. Each game, you see the confidence build. Each game, you see more and more people step up, and you're starting to see that throughout the stats, throughout the box scores. Just recently, Walnut Hills, Hannah Doan collecting 3 hits, Alexi Hall 2 hits, Ace Huckabee 3 hits, 2 runs. And in that time, when you're seeing a big stretch of a lot of games in a short window, it takes a lot of just as a team coming together. If it's Tuesday and we got a game Wednesday, we forget about Tuesday and focus on Wednesday. So you always have to just let go of the game before and concentrate and focus on the next opponent and the next pitch and the next out. And, you're starting to see a lot of good confidence from our Lady Vikes, and you're starting to see that show with our play. And, more people are stepping up, like I said before, and you need that during a tough stretch. You need that when, maybe your upperclassmen or, your seniors or people that typically are doing very well on average are just, maybe they're tired, fatigue setting in here in the stretch, and to see underclassmen step up and, be the leader for that game. It's just rewarding to see as a supporter of the softball team and as fans. I think they appreciate that. You see, each game, you forget about the next one, you focus on the next at bat, the next out, and you focus on the opponent. And, the confidence is skyrocketed, especially last week with collecting 3 wins. And, the GMC, again, is a tough conference. There's no doubt about it. And if we can continue to fight and stay positive and work and to get better each day and each at bat, and you're seeing that. And it's good to see for the softball program.
And that run continues, I believe, 6 games between now and next Tuesday on our next episode of the podcast. So they continue that run right now. We'll see how they do in the this coming week. Let's jump into the pool here and let's start talking about your water polo teams. Let's start with the boys first. And both teams have had very good years thus far, nonetheless, no matter which side you look at. We're going to focus on the boys, though, to begin with. They were up at the Ohio Cup over this past weekend. Really good, I think, litmus test as far as what they could potentially see in the postseason as they try and compete for potentially a state title there. But finished 3rd at the Ohio Cup, so pretty good showing up there. And now they return home with scheduled matches against St. X and Sycamore this coming week. They spent a lot of time on the road the last couple of weeks, and with not every high school program offering water polo, sometimes you've got to travel. You've got to log some miles to go get matches in away from home because you can't play everything at home. So with that being said, the last couple of weeks on the road, and now we're back home this week, I have to imagine the boys are pretty happy to get back home in friendly waters, given how many miles they've logged over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. The Ohio Cup's always a good test to see where you're at right now against very top competition, state of Ohio, and with limited number of schools compared to other sports here in the spring season that offer water polo, you do have to travel. You do have to log some miles there. I know the team enjoys the travel, the camaraderie, being on the road and stuff and playing against some great competition. And you're just seeing the boys team excel. Mason, for example, and on senior day, they scored 22 goals. And what's more impressive of the 22 goals, there are 17 assists and 11 different players scored. So that alone is showcasing how well the team is doing. They're having offensive firepower, but they're also getting it from a handful of players. You're seeing a lot of great passing, great execution, a lot of great leadership in the water there by the Vikings. So excited for them to return back, and as they get going here at the back stretch of the season, really to see how it all folds out. They've had a really good season, and they're building confidence each game and each match. And Coach Tamaris, as you know, he's outstanding when it comes to water polo inside that pool. So I'm very excited to see his team and how they finish out this back half of the season, head to tournament play, because we're starting to see a lot of the competition. Every team's getting better each day, but in particular, this just to highlight, 22 goals in one game, but 17 assists on that, 11 different players scoring. That's pretty incredible, and it's good to see as a team how well they're playing. And then down the stretch we'll see, but the confidence is there, the positive attitude is there, and they want to work hard and compete and get the W's. So excited to watch them play.
Yeah, for those that don't know, 22 goals is a lot in water polo. You don't see that very often on teams breaking that 20-goal barrier. They put up 22 while also pitching a shutout. So getting it done on both ends there. So the boys get a 22-0 win over Mason. The girls also beat Mason last Wednesday. A little tighter that match, wound up 12-8, but nevertheless, get the win there. That's the most important thing. And then get to enjoy a weekend away from competition, a little bit of a breather there before getting back going this week with home matches against the Cincinnati Mavericks and then also Sycamore. They've got their Ohio Cup coming up here soon. And with the regular season winding down here in the next couple of weeks here, how big of a week is this ahead for the girls trying to take care of business at home before they go out for the Ohio Cup and towards the end of the regular season?
Yeah, I think it's a big stretch. It's a big with confidence for the team heading to the Ohio Cup and going into elite competition. And like you said, having a few days off is always good. Anytime you can get a few days rest and just get back to working on the fundamentals and practice and gearing up for the upcoming stretch of schedules, because games go quick. And the opportunity to go over scouting reports and just get healthy and get some rest. That's a big part in the season. So I know the Lady Vikes are excited to get going here on this stretch and head into the Ohio Cup competition set forth. And like I said before, we're heading to the back stretch of the season. It's been a grind. The Lady Vikes have done an outstanding job, coaches and players and the parents supporting that. So it's good to get a few days rest, to just regroup and get ready for the next week of challenging games. And, they're excited. And, again, they're doing very well in the pool too. And you're seeing some great individual and team efforts throughout. And, again, it's just exciting to see our teams competing and playing hard.
Two teams right there in the pool that certainly are of the capability to make some serious noise in the postseason. We'll be keeping an eye on that over the next few weeks here. Let's jump out of the pool and let's head on to the tennis courts here. And it's been a rough start to the year for the tennis team. Make no mistake about it, particularly in the last week with losing 3 straight to Oak Hills, to Fenwick, and then to Lakota West last Thursday. They've had some time off now, and we'll have a couple of more days off when we're recording this on Tuesday morning. They're next in action Thursday afternoon against Hamilton. So a full week off in between matches here to try to get things turned around here. What have the boys been working on in practice over the last couple of days, and what do you think they're going to continue to work on ahead of this Hamilton match to try and get a win here?
I think the big thing is just progression. Again, you're going against elite players in Southwest Ohio, and with the GMC, you got two teams in the top 5 of the state team pool. So the GMC is a tough conference, especially tennis, and the Vikings are competing hard and going against some elite competition individually. But with this stretch, getting some rest, being able to regroup and just get back to some of the basics and fundamentals as far as the practicing and stuff, and just improving on individual craft. A lot of times, when you have matches back to back to back, you don't really get a chance to take time and just kind of regroup and, look at things as a your tendencies and your scouting reports moving forward and areas that just need to focus on and improve on. So I know that's what the Vikings have been improving on and focusing on. And you're seeing that against some very elite competition. You're starting to see individual players really bounce back against their opposition, but at the same time as a team trying to get that next victory. And hopefully that does come here against Hamilton on Thursday. But the rest has been good, and the workouts just preparing to get better. The GMC tennis tournament's getting ready to take place May 6th through 8th there. So kind of gearing up for that. And, again, it'll be another great showcase of our student athletes in tennis.
And some of the fans out there may see the overall scores from these tennis matches and wonder, oh my gosh, what's going on here? Because a couple of those matches we talked about wound up in 5-0 sweeps. I think the one against Fenwick wound up 4-1. Mm-hmm. The other thing folks have to remember is, like you said, two of the top 5 teams in the state are in this conference. So you're being tested against the best of the best. And there's really, as we've said, and it goes with a lot of other sports, there are really no days off in this league. There's not a chance where you can say, oh, okay, this team isn't quite as good as some other ones. We may have a chance to get something here. It's that good of competition right now. And it's kind of a similar story with the volleyball team. We've talked with Joe here on the podcast before and in the first couple of weeks of the year about really trying to knock the rust off from obviously not having a season a year ago. And some of the results early on have kind of indicated that it's taken the team some time to get their legs back underneath them. Some guys coming out for the first time and joining the volleyball program to try to help out. So you're trying to work all those things together. And right now they're now in a stretch of 4 games in 4 straight days. You had the match against West Claremont on Monday. You've got Middletown today, Miamisburg, and Fairfield coming up in the next 3 days here. Starting to head to the point where we're really approaching kind of the midway point of the regular season right now. Where are they at as far as that development goes? Are they still trying to work the rust off here in the midst of this regular season, given there's obviously been a 2-year layoff, or are there some other things working right now against them at the moment that's causing them to still kind of struggle a little bit?
Well, I think number one is you're getting a lot of student athletes coming out that may be a first year, second year volleyball player. And this is a sport that's just at the high school level now. There's not too many opportunities currently for players to pick up volleyball outside of being a freshman in high school. So you're starting to see that. Of course, last year not having spring sports, that does impact as far as a development program with boys high school volleyball. But you are seeing a lot of great improvement. Individual confidence is building. You're seeing that with some stats and some highlights and from each individual player. And they're competing. The win-loss record might not be there, but they're competing. And they've allowed themselves to have chances that, win and close the door against opponents. And unfortunately, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But that's the great thing about sports. You just regroup and get ready for the next opponent. So, 3-4 matches here coming up, and a lot of that is going to, be a good test for our Vikings and our team, and just staying positive and keep building and developing there. And as they get going to the end of the conference run and in their respective tournaments there. But you are seeing a lot of great growth from the beginning of when we started to right now. And credit goes to Coach Duckworth and her staff on that. And again, like I said, when you're going against elite competition and as a team, you're starting to build. You're going to take your bumps and bruises along the way, but you're starting to see the Vikings really grind it out, compete, and go head-to-head with some very elite volleyball teams in this area. So excited to see the last half of the season head to the tournament, because you're seeing the confidence build from the players and the team overall against some very good competition there. So hopefully it all works out and the results start to come. Again, like you said, people will look at box scores and just think, what's going on, but there's a lot of things that are deeper in that. And, the score is one thing, but is the team progressing and doing, improving game by game? And you're seeing that from the team. You're seeing that from the tennis team and volleyball team, like we talked. So, again, it'd be a tough stretch here with a couple games back to back to back, but excited for this one today. As we're recording, we got staff appreciation and senior recognition this today. So another special home match for the Vikings.
Quickly here, as we're wrapping up the show here, take us through a track and field. What do they have on the docket coming up this week?
Track and field is doing outstanding. They just coming off the big Cedarville and Impson Invitational. A lot of individual highlights there. Shabazz Brown first in 100-meter dash and second 200 dash. Kanai Dexter with a win in a 400-meter dash. The boys, Makai Lynn first in 100-meter dash, and our relays on boys and girls side getting top 1 and 2. So you're seeing the track team really excel here, and a very exciting time for that. Just having the Spurlock Invitational and heading into the Lakota West Invitational and get ready for that. So again, the track team is excited. They're fast, they're exciting to watch, and they're really showcasing some great performances. And credit goes to Coach Braddix and Coach Curtis Smith Jr. and their staff for that. So busy time. Hopefully this cold weather kind of stays away. I know there's some frost in the area, so nobody likes that in the spring season. But, the track and field team's heating up, so hopefully we keep that cold air away.
Yeah, we don't need that. We don't need any snow that's projected to come through tonight, which is a weird thing to say in the middle of April. And as you said, that they can keep themselves warm and also keep lowering those times and increasing those distances and what have you. And we'll be keeping an eye on it over the next few weeks. Our thanks to Princeton Assistant Athletic Director Matt Weber joining us here today for This Week in Princeton Vikings Athletics here on VikeNation.org and ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.